jump into some the main question, and it is the entire idea of don't lie to them is what are the mistakes lawyers are making in communicating honestly with not necessarily communicating on like, what are the communication errors or mistakes that lawyers make that you think a lot of lawyers are making or that you made at some point that you learned from in telling, because our job is to tell, whether I'm a lawyer or a manager, my job is to direct the artist, is to help them find a path to success. But to do that a lot of the time we have to be honest with them because the way to go is always the hardest one most of the time. So how do you tell them the truth? How do you communicate this truth with them? Because most times they don't want to hear it. So how do you make them change their minds or make them do what they need to do? How do you do it, basically?
Who's going first? Should I?
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, usually this business is fast paced. Sometimes your client wants to just hear your opinion like ASAP, give it to me because I'm about to make a decision. Maybe the contract just came and you're trying to like process it for like 3 days, 2 days. Some of these guys they can't bear the thought of relaxing, calm down. Let's take the contract piece by piece.
Yeah.
Let me ask you what you want. Does this work for your future goals and all the like? So I think a mistake would be to give into that pressure. Like, I see the hot. Let's just try to let's get it, let's move. But again, in communicating with them, I remember that I have even till tomorrow there's a problem. Some talents they want WhatsApp. They want to stay on the phone to chat business. And you're like, bro, we have to do emails. I'm not a one-man show. There are other lawyers that need to be part of this conversation. Let's document your thoughts so that this will be like the reference for whatever the transaction is. We can always go back to it. It is always there for posterity's sake. Because with WhatsApp, referring back to what you said could be a challenge. But many of them, they don't know how to, just treat it like a business. Put it down, communicate your thoughts. So that's a problem. Then you mentioned that how do we communicate? I like to give references and stories. I like to paint pictures like, bro, from my experience, this is what I did. And this is how it turned out. I figure that when you give examples, they are more willing to accept whatever the advice or opinion is.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, you can advise people and then a lot of the time, they can say no to your opinion or your advice. And you can't begrudge them. So those are the two things that I try to. When I'm dealing with talent, I know it's a fast-paced business. You don't want to lose out on opportunities. And then sometimes that adds to the pressure that you're putting on everybody. Yeah. Even your manager, your lawyer, you're calling round the clock. So I'm always trying to slow it down as much as I can. And I'm also trying to give examples that you can relate. You can almost see and touch those examples.
So I didn't take that question first because I was trying to fish out an email from my phone. So I'll answer your question with a story that happened just recently. There's this very talented artist that one of the big record labels that I'm still going to cast. Where is the camera? Where's am I? I'm going to cast you soon. You, the owner of that record label. Let me put out so you hear me. You lie to people that you are one of the best. You are very civil. You are very fair. But behind the scene, you are the worst. I'll cast you soon.
I think I know them.
Yeah,
so,
Jesus. Oh my Jesus.
So this same record label proposed to sign this very young, talented artist. And luckily for the artist, he came to us. Luckily for him, we decided to do the work for him free of charge because we just thought, talented guy, good record label, like Akiemi. Let's
Akiemi style.
Akiemi style. We did Akiemi
Not
style.
Akiemi style. Oh.
Yeah.
You have to be
Akiemi style.
special.
Hold on.
It's free.
Akiemi style,
not
which
free.
I
My
which,
friend is free.
I'm
Akiemi-
not free.
Akiemi
It's not
style,
even
which
cheap, it's
which
free.
I didn't get myself involved in. So another colleague of mine was the one going
Yeah.
back and forth.
Through the stress.
So when it was time to sign, then I stepped in. I looked at the agreement. I looked at what my colleague had pointed out that were bad. And then I saw the email that my colleague was sending to this artist and his manager. And I realized that my colleague was being, this is it. She didn't want to break the artist's heart by telling him, this is a bad agreement, don't do it. So she was just dilly-dallying. I now sent this to her. When she said I should look at it before it goes out, I said, your email is good. I don't advise that the guy takes the deal because it's a bad one. Yes, record deals are usually bad, but not this bad. The deal will make the guy popular, but poor and miserable. I need you to please emphasize this in your email. I was 40 last year in December. In my 40 years, as a woman, as a lawyer, as a human being, I have grown not to fear any human being, including the ones paying my bill. They don't even want you to fear them. So because of that, with these two lips and tongue and teeth, nobody will stop me from saying anything. So I will say it as it is. If you want to roll with it, good. If you don't want to roll with it, good. If you want to make me an enemy afterward, good. I've said the truth, and you roll with it.
Yeah,
Luckily, my colleague, she yielded to my advice, went back to the artist and told him as it is. This is a bad agreement. You are going to be screwed up if you sign this. And the guy said he wasn't signing anymore. That day I was the happiest human being that day.
Just see the life.
This was supposed to be a juicy deal. Money, good. They had even started working. And the guy said he wasn't signing. That's one of the greatest achievements that I've achieved. My greatest achievement in the entertainment industry. And we sent an email to this soccer telling them that we're not signing the deal anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that was a lucky one. Sorry, that was a lucky person for, seeking the intervention of a lawyer. Because a lot of them will just read. Did I say read? A lot of them will receive, ask about what's coming to them, and they'll sign. Then 2 years down the line. And it's even, sometimes I wonder something. I see some things in the industry where when an artist is not doing fine, the record label will just drop them. But when they are doing fine, it's so funny, and it's quite ironic. When a record label when the artist is doing fine, he's always the one willing to leave the record label. But when the artist is not doing fine, the record label will be the one pushing.
Yeah.
So there's always the fight would always have to come at some point. Then they'll come to the lawyers and say, how do we do this? They want you to tell them, they have what they want you to tell them in mind more than half of the time. They have just come to you to actualize what they have thought of, irrespective of whether what they are saying is possible or not, or is reasonable. It can't be reasonable, because if it was reasonable in the first place, you wouldn't sign before coming to the lawyer. They will tell you, we have this situation, we want this, we want this, we want that to happen. Then you tell them, look, let me look at your contracts. Some of them do not even. I have one. I signed an agreement with one, between the record label and the guy. Now, I used to have a copy of that agreement, but that guy, it was a one-off thing. So I can't even remember if I took that agreement away from the office, because I wasn't going to work for them in the first place. They were just like, the law, if you ever do this thing, I don't have any contact with any of them, be it the artist or the record label. Then somehow the artist called me, sir, that he needs another copy of that agreement. Which agreement? The same one I drafted. I'm like, I don't even know. The guy is like, I'm being wicked. That I didn't. How? That I'm a lawyer, I should have a copy. Were you given a copy that day? He said yes. So what? That even then he did not read the agreement. So I mean, how's that my problem? You all signed. You had a witness of your own that co-signed your agreement. You are now coming to me. Can I help talk to the record label? I can't talk to the record label. First of all, I did my bits. All I did was to draft an agreement for you people. And I told your record label, if you have issues later in life, find your lawyer. Don't even come back to me. Do you understand? Because it was more like, I think they paid maybe 120 for the entire agreement. So I wasn't willing to work with a record label like that. You understand? But then, all these artists, once they look at you, you have money. You have promised them this, you have promised them that. They don't care. Because I tried to advise the artist when he came to me. What do I think about? I'm the one drafting the agreement. This is the content of the agreement. He didn't take it to any lawyer. This is the content of the agreement. He said I should sign you. I should draft an agreement that will sign you for 5 years. How do you feel about that? He's going to take care of him. Will he do this? Will he do that? He said he's going to do it. It's okay. Yeah. I would assume you guys have, had this conversation before coming to me. Because, I mean, the truth behind this thing is, before creating legal relations, you guys would have made your offer and acceptance. You should come to me. I should be the last person you would actually come to when you want to seal a deal. Do you understand? If it was in a situation of negotiation, go to your own lawyer, then they will draft the agreement and sign. You guys didn't come to me at the time you wanted to negotiate. You only said seal the agreement. This is what exactly. Yeah. And it's not my position to tell you that you're not paying me for it. Let's get this straight. So my point here is, I tried to be. In fact, it became easy over the years for me to tell an artist that, see, we don't have to work together. This is what I feel. If you have a lawyer that would compromise, go.
So there's some things that are jumping at me in all of the conversations, and it's becoming more and more apparent. Something that I've known somehow, but it's become more and more apparent as I talk to you guys, that most of the lawyers are actually trying to help. The problem is too many people have burnt bridges, and that had just like, okay, I've experienced something and I don't want it to happen to me again, and everybody's now being cautious.
No, I can still fine with pro bono. You said so.
Guys, the nice guy never wins. Yeah? I've not been nice for like many years now.
So I think it's not a situation of not being nice. I think it's a situation of avoiding a heartache, avoiding situations that you don't want to hurt over. And I feel this is a conversation that I'm personally having with artists as well. Like, even think about your future when you burn bridges, or when you attempt to burn bridges, because there are so many. Like, imagine what Yemisi would do for that artist that took her advice, where she said, I told you not to do this because we've seen it. I mean, we've had situations where I remember when I took a particular major wanted to sign a licensing deal with two of my clients. So they gave the same licensing contract, and I took it to my lawyers. The day they called me, I think there were 4 people in the conference room telling me, don't even try it. They spent, I think it was up to 2 hours, breaking down this contract and showing me every single error with it, right? And I literally took those errors, called the artist, and I said, we're not signing. It wasn't a conversation. We're not signing. The artist listened. And it's easy for me to take conversations back to my lawyers, knowing that when they tell me something, I will listen. And this is an advice that I give people. And I feel that hunger that people always have for things of now, and like, this is an opportunity now. That hunger,
I want to blow.
They need to actually calm down and think about their future.